Okay, so today I don't have any announcements to make, so I'm open for your questions. Yes, Srinjoy.
So in these last few days, there have been attacks on Nigerians, there have been attacks on Kenyans. Now, how has the ABA been involved in this? Because the Nigerians have been coming to you, the Kenyans have been coming to you. What kind of assurances have you given people from these countries and the diplomats from these countries, also Africans?
Sure. Let me respond to several aspects of what Srinjoy you have raised, and the ladies, they have added their voice and questions to Srinjoy's. Well, as has been made very clear, such criminal acts are completely unacceptable, and we condemn them. You have seen the statement that was put out day before yesterday, if I recall correctly. The External Affairs Minister had spoken to the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, and MOS Shri M.J. Akbar had spoken to the Acting High Commissioner of Nigeria. We have been in touch diplomatically through the diplomatic channels, both in Delhi and in Nigeria. Our High Commissioner in Nigeria, our High Commissioner to Nigeria, Shri B.N. Reddy, had a meeting in the Foreign Ministry of Nigeria. And basically what we have conveyed, both to the Nigerian diplomats here in New Delhi as well as in Abuja, is that the government remains committed to ensuring safety and security of every foreigner, but of course, in this particular instance, the Nigerians. The local authorities, as you would know, have taken very effective actions. They have launched investigations. Certain people have been arrested. A large number of people is under close watch. The district authorities have had meetings with the local welfare association as well as the students who represent the Nigerian community there. So all in all, we have taken a number of steps in this regard. We have assured the students that we will remain committed to their safety and security, and we of course will continue to take action against all those guilty, and they will be prosecuted in accordance with law. Yes, Nidhi. Okay.
Would you categorize this as a racist attack, a racial attack?
Nidhi, pending the investigation, it is not correct for me to go into the nature and the reason of what triggered this particular criminal activity. So let us await the outcome of the investigation, and then perhaps we'll be in a better position to understand. Srinjoy, as far as the Kenyan reported incident is concerned, I think I can share with all of you that the Kenyan High Commissioner has had a meeting with the concerned Joint Secretary in MEA today. And it has been clarified to us that the understanding of the Kenyan diplomats is that that this particular incident is not an attack on the women concerned, and so therefore I don't think that this incident has anything to do with violence of the type that came to be associated with it. Adit? I'll come to you.
So may I just what is this? Was this incident a fabricated one? Has the lady, as in presented a different picture from what actually it was?
Ashish, at this point, I will only say that the local law enforcement agencies, authorities have also spoken to the media. They are conducting their investigation. Let us await the result of those investigation also. But in the meantime, I have shared with you what has transpired when the meeting took place between the Kenyan High Commissioner and our concerned officials. Adit?
So on the question of Lalit Modi, he has come out with an official statement where he says that the Interpol, he actually presents a document which says that he does not have that red corner notice against him. So is the Indian government really going to do anything about it? Has the MEA taken cognizance of this?
Well, I don't have any information regarding what you have said, and perhaps you might wish to direct your queries to Enforcement Directorate and CBI Interpol.
Gopal, the Sri Lankan minister Sajith Premadasa has been in town giving a speech at some place. Has he had any bilateral meetings with any of our officials or ministers? Thanks.
I don't have information on that. I will need to come back to you. Yeah.
There was a report in one of the newspapers about the Ministry of External Affairs asking the Department of Fertilizers not to go ahead with the Chabahar project. Do you have any further details about it?
Yeah, I have seen the report. First of all, let me tell you that Chabahar port is a matter within the domain of the Ministry of Shipping, and it's an infrastructure project which seeks to increase connectivity between India and Iran and through Chabahar with Afghanistan and Central Asia. As for the report that you mentioned, I think it is completely misinformed. India and Iran's bilateral relations, they stand on their own. You would be aware that after the Prime Minister's visit to Tehran last May, last year in 2016, a number of decisions were taken and which have reinforced the relationship, which have reinforced our cooperation in the areas of energy in particular and also connectivity, Chabahar port, for example. So we continue to develop those vectors of our activities and consolidate our cooperation in all areas.
So has the African Union lodged any formal protest like they had done earlier about these recent incidents involving the Nigerians and this Kenyan lady? And just a small clarification on this, on your reply a short while ago. Am I right in understanding that it was the Kenyans who conveyed to the MEA that it was not an attack on their national? Or was it the MEA saying so?
To your first question about the African Union raising this matter with us, my answer is no. I am not aware of any such action. On the question regarding the Kenyan lady, I have mentioned that a meeting took place earlier today between the Kenyan High Commissioner and our concerned Joint Secretary, and the Kenyan diplomats conveyed to us that their understanding is that the reported nature of this incident is not correct.
The international community has expressed concern on recent developments in Maldives. And how do you view those political events in Maldives in recent days?
Which particular recent incidents are you referring to?
The Maldivian parliament, where the speaker was removed by the Maldivian army was called in to prevent the voting in Maldivian parliament.
I think I would refrain from commenting on those developments at this stage.
Just coming back to the Nigerian aspect issue, you've outlined the various law and order steps that we've taken and that the UP police has also promised to take. But beyond that, on a diplomatic front, are we planning to also perhaps, engage more actively with the African diplomatic community to see how such events, such things can be either prevented or minimized in the future? Is there any roadmap for a more broader approach to this subject rather than just a law and order approach?
Thank you very much for that question. I think you are very right. I could tell you that there is a wider engagement. There has been a wider engagement. Our engagement not only related to the recent incident, but we have a very wide-ranging engagement with Africa as a whole, with all the African countries. And African nationals, people from African countries, including from Nigeria, have been welcome in India. They have studied here, they have worked here. Indians have taught in Africa, and there has been this two-way communication and interaction through the decades and in fact centuries between the two continents. So our effort is that we remain engaged with the African friends and partners. And these incidents, these type of incidents which happened, of course they are serious incidents, but I would also say that they perhaps represent the acts of a misguided and misinformed few, a very, very small number of people, and they should not reflect on the wider cooperation between India and between the wider creed and the motto that we continue to believe, both the government and the people, which is Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, the whole world is a family. So the African people, including the students and the youth, will continue to be welcome here because they are our valued partners. I'll finish that.
Saniur Rahman, a 28-year-old Bangladeshi blogger, spoke to NewsX yesterday, and he has been living in India since 2013. He's been seeking asylum from India. We just wanted to know what's the status of his application, which he says is in process.
Geeta, I'm afraid I don't have information in this regard on this particular case, and in any case, asylum would be a matter which should be dealt with by the Ministry of Home Affairs, so I might refer you to them. Smita? And then we come to this side.
Donald Trump, since he's come into office, has spoken twice now to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, but we've only seen those readouts come out from White House, the bare minimum readouts, nothing really being added from the Prime Minister's office. Could you add a little bit more as to how long was the conversation, or did India raise the issue of the cancer shooting, the other, and when you're talking about Prime Minister visiting later in the year, is there a time frame one can share at this point in time, pre-July, post-July?
Well, you have seen the statements, obviously, which you referred to. I don't have very specific details of the kind that you asked about the duration and the specific issues raised. What I do understand in general terms is both the leaders touched upon the very strong India-US relationship that has developed over the past years, and we all are working for consolidation of this relationship. As to the question of the timing of the visit, as you know, I am not able to comment on that. Those things will be decided as per mutual convenience. When we have that, we will let you know.
Mr. Bagle, India invested a huge deal of effort a couple of years back, I think 2 years back, on organizing the India-Africa Forum Summit. And I think about 44 countries participated in that. 54, okay, I stand corrected. So what I want to know is the African students are feeling rather discouraged from coming to India in this kind of a scenario. Are you going to engage with the foreign students dean in various universities? I mean, I think in 2013 an African student died in Punjab after he was very brutally attacked by 7 people, and 7 people got imprisonment. And his family had to come all the way and nurse him here, but he died.
Look, I have just said a few minutes ago here that we remain engaged very strongly with all the African countries because our partnership with Africa is an extremely valued partnership. The outcomes of the India-Africa Forum Summits, especially its 3rd edition, they are being vigorously followed. And of course, the results of them are visible for both African partners as well as for us. As far as your question about the African students being discouraged is concerned, I do understand why you are asking this question. In the context is the incident that you mentioned, but that was 2013. I can't speak about that. The current incident I have mentioned a few minutes ago, what we are doing both as a law and order steps and also in the wider context. I can't say if there's an empirical basis to say that they are feeling discouraged, but insofar as their concerns are concerned, and in many cases these concerns are of course should be addressed, and we are very willing to engage with Nigerian students or any other African students who are there and who give constructive suggestions in this regard. We ourselves have taken a number of steps of which are not confined to immediate law and order steps, like talking to the students' union and asking them what could be done to reinforce their sense of security, and not merely reinforce their physical security where they live.
सर, मौसम के बदलते ही कश्मीर घाटी में एक बार फिर से आतंकी गतिविधियां बढ़ गई हैं। दूसरी तरफ आज पाकिस्तान ने आरोप लगाया है कि इंडिया जो है उसके इंटरनल मैटर में इंटरफेयर कर रहा है और फाइनेंसिंग टेरर एक्टिविटीज़ के भी आरोप लगाए गए हैं।
तो आपका सवाल क्या है?
हमारा सवाल है कि जो मौजूदा स्थिति है उसमें जो आरोप लगाए गए हैं, आज ही उनके प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में नफीस ज़कारिया ने कहा है कि इंडिया जो है वो टेरर एक्टिविटी को पाकिस्तान में फंडिंग कर रहा है। तो किस तरह से आप लोग इंटरनेशनल फोरम पे फिर एक बार जो पाकिस्तान की तरफ से ये क्वेश्चंस रेज किए जा रहे हैं उसको जवाब देंगे?
भाई 100 बार दोहराने से कोई झूठ सच तो नहीं हो जाता।
So, any engagement cannot be one-sided affair. As you are telling that we are engaged with African countries on this issue, and especially the Nigerians, there had been several complaints in last years that the behavior of some of those are not in accordance with the law of the land, and also they had been engaged in certain activities that was not fairly treated and accepted by the society where they are living. So had this sense been conveyed to the African diplomats in any meetings? And there also been last year External Affairs Minister said that there will be sensitization campaign about Africans in India. So what are the efforts that have been done so far?
In the context of what you said, I mean, generally speaking, there you are right that the engagement is a two-way street. There are occasions when certain questions have been asked or concerns have been raised by the residents. Local authorities who deal with these matters have obviously looked into them. Wherever required, the Ministry of External Affairs has given its inputs, has given its suggestions and advice. And as you rightly mentioned, the External Affairs Minister had mentioned about the sensitization. So all these things are being undertaken. The thing really is that those people who are guests in our country and who are here for a legitimate purpose and are engaged in activities which promote cooperation between the two countries and strengthen the interaction between the peoples of the two countries, they should feel secure and they should feel welcome. That is where our efforts are directed. The impression on this side is that I ignored this side for long, so let me focus here a little bit, then I will come to in the end towards that side.
So the senior official from the Nigerian Foreign Ministry today basically asked for deterrence, asked for exemplary punishment for the mob attackers. So have you received any input from the Uttar Pradesh government whereby you can actually assure the government of Nigeria that the punishments and the prosecution process will be such that futures, such attacks in future will be completely, impossible?
I will only point out that the law enforcement authorities of the district concerned acted with the efficacy and acted very expeditiously. The External Affairs Minister, as we mentioned earlier, herself spoke to the Chief Minister. I mentioned today also that number of people have been arrested and the investigation is still not complete. This investigation is ongoing. People are kept under watch and of course the law of the land will take its course.
Sir, मेरा दो क्वेश्चन है. Should I ask two questions?
If these two are the last questions, you may please.
The question...
Without setting a precedence.
Okay, thank you very much. इंडिया-पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट मैच होने की कोई संभावना है? एक नंबर. और छोटा सा एक घटना घटे गुड़गांव में, ओप्पो मोबाइल कंपनी, Chinese mobile company did something nuisance. So what is the reaction from your side?
On the India-Pakistan cricket match, I have nothing at the moment. I would suggest you enjoy the Indian series victory over Australia for the time being. On the question of the Gurgaon incident that you are referring to, I think you are referring to to a particular Chinese national insulting the Indian national flag in some way. I think that the national symbols should be respected everywhere in the world. And that, of course, need not be stressed. In this particular incident, the law enforcement authorities have taken the necessary action. We also note that the Chinese Foreign Ministry has issued a statement, and the company concerned has also taken certain steps in this regard. With that, we come to end of this particular interaction. Thank you very much for your patience and being here. Look forward to seeing you again.